Crime rates are becoming increasingly high, leaving us all to wonder to what extent are we safe. Recent news says that a man robbed more than 40 McDonald's restaurants and successfully escaped prison. Let's look into the details. Meet Jeffrey Allen Manchester, famously known as the Roof Man, a cunning and notorious thief who targeted more than 40 McDonald's restaurants across different states. His unique approach involved gaining entry through the roof, earning him his notorious nickname. The fascinating chronicle of Jeffrey Allen Manchester takes us deep into the account of his clever scheme to avoid capture after his iconic prison breakout. A fresh chapter in his criminal escapades began with his last heist. The Roofman's approach was both daring and precise. He earned his name by gaining entry into McDonald's restaurants through their roofs. He successfully navigated unnoticed by utilizing his knowledge of the layout of the premises. From the beginning, he had the advantage thanks to this inside information. The fact that he managed to rob 40 McDonald's and escaped in a legendary fashion ensures that he was unlike any other criminal. What set Jeffrey apart from typical criminals was his behavior during robberies. Known for his friendly and peaceful nature, he was unlike the cruel and ominous criminals commonly seen in